Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 178 of Shacknews Presents Pop Goes the Culture. I'm Donovan Erskine, news editor here at Shacknews, and I'm joined as always by Greg Burke, our illustrious head of video. Greg, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. It's our week thing. We do it every week. I know what day
You
it
know,
is. It's
it
Thursday.
is our
Week's
week thing.
almost done.
Yeah, it's a Thursday, and it's a good fall Thursday here because as I look out this window behind my computer, the sun is a setting, and boy, does it look dark outside. And it is only 4 p.m. on the East Coast and 1 p.m. over in sunny California. You guys still got some sunlight left.
Yeah, but it's gloomy because it's our winter, so we're starting to get a lot more rain.
Yeah,
And we like rain, but we
yeah,
don't like rain because when it rains heavy in the winter, that means that like all the stuff grows really quickly and then it all dries out and then there's like a bunch of tinder everywhere. Then we're a tinder box again for another year. Huzzah.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting times here on planet Earth, but we're not here to talk about planet Earth, Greg, or the change in weather or time. We're going to talk about movie and TV news because this is Pop Goes the Frickin' Culture, people. So I'm going to jump into our news rundown here with story number one. Greg, this is a big one, specifically for you, as a person who has tattoos based on the Legend of Zelda video game series. It
Yeah.
means that much to you. We got our first images from the Legend of Zelda movie, a live action movie, I'll have you know, coming from Nintendo and Sony Pictures. This happened this week. Timing was interesting. We had some New Zealanders who were on set, sitting in a tree, recording the
Yeah,
the
timing.
production, and then uploading it themselves on the social media. Then the next day, Nintendo was like, "We've begun production. Here are your first official images," which obviously are much nicer than the leaked footage here. But we get to see both Bo Bragison as Zelda and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth as Link. They certainly look like Zelda and Link to me, Greg. As a resident Zelda sicko, I like to refer to you as. What do you think of this?
Talk about getting strong armed into releasing photos earlier than they wanted to, because they that had something to do with it. And it was a factor. It might not have been the sole
Probably.
factor. It was definitely the factor. Well, crap. We have to release photos because we don't want this like little crappy iPhone video to be like the only thing. And it's funny because I think the main takeaway from that video too, not just the announcement of like how they look, is that like allegedly Impa's in that footage. So like we get to see Impa too, like her bodyguard, the Sheikah bodyguard too, which is funny because she's not mentioned in the press release at all, but she's clearly in that footage. As if we weren't
Quite
going to get
interesting.
her. It's so weird. And then they did another cast announcement too this week. Another
Uh-huh.
new face to the series. But I mean this looks great. Well, I mean it was on Nintendo Direct first before it went everywhere else. I
Hmm.
mean the aesthetics there, right? I mean Asif had mentioned in your podcast, so did you, that he likes how young they are because they're supposed to be kids. So I applaud them. I think it looks great. Again, it's just
Me
some
too.
still pictures,
Yeah.
right? And like Link doesn't have his hat. Where's his hat? Will he have a hat? Does he get it later? Did he lose it? I don't know. We'll find out
I saw
today.
somebody say that. Somebody was like, "How do you know he didn't lose it? Maybe the whole story is him trying to find the hat." Um, yeah, who knows? And that's always part. Whenever you get an adaptation, any detail, people are
Yeah.
like, "What about this thing? Where's that part of the look that I know from the version of this that I love and appreciate?" But yeah, I think as a movie, looks good. I'm excited for it. I'm curious to see Hyrule come to life in New Zealand. Right, we talked about it on This Week in Switch 2, but they're filming it in New Zealand. It's where they filmed The Lord of the Rings. It's where a lot of like high fantasy stuff will film because you just have these massive, verdant green hills and fields and forests and trees, and you can dress it up and really make it look like a fantasy world. And they're going to turn the countryside of New Zealand into Hyrule, which could be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how that shakes out. I love that they went with I hate the term no-name actors because it almost sounds kind of reductive and mean, like you're saying you guys are nobodies. But I like they went with unknowns. Like they got these younger actors to play these characters. Obviously, Nintendo is a very forward-thinking company. They're going to get this movie out and they're going to make it the best they can. But they know that if The Legend of Zelda does well, there's going to be not only a two, but a three and a four. And I'm sure their dream is that, these actors will grow into these roles as these characters and they can play them on screen
That
um,
I think that is weird,
for
like
years to
because in
come.
the Mario movie, like there are obviously arguably some headliners for that role. Like Chris probably didn't have to audition for that. He just got offered and he took it. Like it's interesting that they didn't take that same approach for this one. Now, my question, you Donovan, is like, is that because they think that just it being a Zelda title will put butts in seats without having like big AAA names on a poster? Do you think that's why they hired a bunch of unknowns and new actors in this movie? Like, why do you think they would have done that instead of like attach, Vin Diesel or The Rock or something to it?
Because it's live action, I think is why. Like Mario being animated, you don't I mean it's Mario, right? Like Mario's on the screen and the voices give you that familiarity. I think the issue with a Zelda movie is you can't really do the same. Like if the Mario movie was live action, I don't think it would have been Chris Pratt playing him. Like if they shot that, which would have been a crazy idea if they did another live action Mario movie. But if they did, I don't think Chris Pratt would have been the guy they went with. But I think with a Zelda movie, one, those characters are so young canonically, right? Like Mario's got the big mustache. How old does anybody think Mario is? 30 something, 40 something? I have no idea. But he doesn't look like a 16-year-old. He's not young. He's an adult. Zelda's different. You can't have Vin Diesel or The Rock or even like a Timothy Chalamet. Like these people are all too old, right? Even Tom Holland is like 7, 8, 9 years too old to be playing a Link at this point. So you kind of have to go young. And by the nature of how film works, most superstars are adults.
Yeah, yeah.
Save for like the Stranger Things kids who are now adults themselves, but when they first blew up were kids and like the Harry Potter cast. Typically, if you're casting a movie that needs children as its leads, you're gonna cast unknowns because there aren't a lot of like hyper famous children, and that's what they needed for The Legend of Zelda. So I think it was just what worked best for the IP, I think, is just that case and the fact that it's live action. And again, I think Nintendo, and again, they won't say it because they're Nintendo and they're smart, but I think they have a long term vision for what this can be with multiple sequels and not spin-offs, but this is going to be a franchise unless it's some disaster of a movie and nobody sees it, which I don't think is going to happen.
No, no. Oops, lots of there. No,
But
I think it's is it like, but like we haven't gotten casting for Ganon yet, right? We haven't got. There's a lot of
I mean, I guess for anybody except for Link and Zelda.
Yeah, Link and Zelda. No, they was one more announcement today, but they didn't say who she was playing. Which I'm guessing either a Geraldo or a Sheikah Klansman or Impa or something like that. Like there's only been 3 announcements, so like we don't know yet. Maybe the Rock is coming as Ganondorf. We don't know yet. Like it's a possibility, but Sony's track record with casting is very interesting because like for example, Sony owns Ghostbusters, and the big headliner for Ghostbusters was Paul Rudd, and like and everyone else was like were actors, right? Actors, and you had the old people, the older actors in there too, but that was the big headliner. Paul Rudd was supposed to put butts in seats. Sony, and
Right.
like they do a lot of movies, horror and otherwise, where like there's not a like I don't know, because they have budgets or their casting director just likes to hire not super high list celebrities, or maybe they can't afford them. But like I feel like a lot of their movies don't have like huge names on their poster. Maybe they have names, right, that are household, but not the same level as like other movies you'd see, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. Nintendo has a very fascinating strategy with film. They're obviously diversifying in their partners and their formats. They clearly aren't dedicated to just animation or live action. It seems like they're playing it on a IP by IP basis. What works best for Mario? What works best for The Legend of Zelda? So it'll be interesting. The movie doesn't come out till May 2027, so we got some time. We're gonna be waiting to learn more about that thing. But
I think it
when
looks
it
great.
does,
Yeah, I
you can
mean, I can't
expect
wait.
for
I
us to
can't
talk
wait to
about
see
it
it.
here.
I'll probably have to wait though, unless I want to drive really, really,
It's The
really
Legend
far.
of Zelda. Do you have a Zelda tattoo? Yes, you have to drive to go see the Zelda movie, Greg. You have a Zelda tattoo. Sorry, you're gonna have to drive an hour to go see this at a nice theater. I feel like you're obligated to once you ink it to your flesh.
Yeah, right.
You can't let a Zelda movie come out and then you just wait at home for and it's Nintendo, so it's not gonna be 2 months and then on streaming. It's gonna be like 8 months. It'll be like later at the end of the year. It'll finally be on like home video to rent. So yes, you do have to go see
I
this.
did bite the bullet and go to see it at the shitty theater in my town. And for those of you who don't know the
But
show, like
Mario,
yeah, I have one crummy movie theater and it's terrible. Like it's gross. It's
right?
disgusting. The patrons that go there suck. Like it's not a great theater to go to. Like you'd have to go like on a Wednesday at 2 to like not get terrible like people vaping and
Hey,
smoking in the theater. Like that kind of a theater just sucks. Very
seeing a movie
disrespectful people
Wednesday
there.
too
Yeah.
was a pretty good
So
vibe.
I'm very limited in my theater viewings. So yeah,
It's
but
okay because I'm
man,
gonna
I'm
make
gonna have
sure
to
you
drive to
see
Santa
Zelda in
Rosa
the
to see
theater.
it, unless they're doing like a arc light or whatever the equivalent of an arc light is now. Oh, what's it called? The yard house? No, the house. What's the? Oh my god.
The Art House is a restaurant.
No, the whatever the art is
Oh,
it?
Alamo Draft House.
The Alamo Draft House. Yeah, that's really far, and like just driving, parking, and getting there is like immediately $60. So
Yeah,
before even getting into the theater and paying the money there. So I don't know. That might
right.
be a little far, but it might be worth it.
We need you to figure something out, bud. I don't know what to tell you. You guys are gonna have to put your minds together and figure out how you're gonna see this movie. You got a couple years to figure it out though, luckily.
I do.
Speaking of things that people are trying to figure out, Warner Brothers Discovery, Greg, is still up for grabs. And while we don't have a buyer yet, the conversation is really starting to heat up here in interesting ways. And by interesting, I could mean actually interesting or fucking terrible. And I'll tell you why. One of the companies that we know are trying to acquire Warner Bros. Is Paramount, Paramount Skydance, which is now I think it was partnering with some Saudi companies to try to put money together to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, which would be a little bit concerning. Also, Paramount's just a little strange, and you look into the people who run that company, a little weird. David Ellison's got some strange stuff coming on. The guy has some weird quotes. But then another interesting contender, Greg, somebody I know you are very intimately familiar with, Netflix wants to buy Warner Brothers. And there was actually an interesting turn to this story with Netflix because there was a report that Netflix, in its private discussions with Warner Brothers, told them that, hey, if you sell to us, if we buy Warner Brothers, we're going to keep putting your movies in theaters, right? Like, because that is one of the holdups is they're like, hey, we sell it, it all just becomes streaming content. Netflix privately, they haven't said this publicly, apparently, is telling people at WB, the executives, the people who would have to sign off the board, that, hey, we buy Warner Brothers, we'll continue to operate it as is, right? When Superman 2 comes out, it's not going to be a Netflix movie day one sort of thing. It'll be in the theaters like a Superman movie would be, or The Lord of the Rings, or whenever they inevitably drag Harry Potter back to the big screen, that sort of thing, which I thought was interesting because it's against their little fucking philosophy of putting everything on TVs. Uh, Greg, it seems like inevitably Warner Brothers is going to get acquired, which is so silly given we went through years of stupid corporate bullshit from them merging with Discovery, and they canceled all those projects, and you got David Zaslav quickly became like the most hated CEO in entertainment, it felt. And just like that, they're ready to pack up shop and let somebody else take over.
I feel like they were in the bargain bin for a while, and then they had Barbenheimer, and then they were the hot stuff for a hot minute again, and that like kind of took them out of the
Already did really
bargain
well for
bin.
them. Yeah.
Right. I feel like that was a big factor. Like you don't like they're like Warner Brothers has won a lot of IPs and a lot of hands and a lot of jars and a lot of property in LA. So like you're buying the property, you're buying the IP or the rather the film rights or television rights to the IP, right? They don't own Batman, somebody else owns, but they own the film rights and the television rights to Batman. And like all the gear, of
Mm.
course, they own on the property, right? So it's a lot to buy all at once. So when they were not doing great, then Barbenheimer happened and they shot through the roof, and then they were out of the bargain bin, and then David Zaslav kept making poor decisions. Then they were back in the bargain bin, and then HBO Go started seeing success with like I want to say Homelander, but that's Peacemaker with Peacemaker, and then like Superman, made a lot of
Yeah.
money. So they're finding these like little hits, which takes them out of like that zone. Like I still think it's a company that's struggling. You need more than one or two hits to like stay afloat and like do very well. And I think they want to sell for that reason, because they can't keep depending on like one or two films to like pull them out of the red or pull them out of like the bargain bin every single time something happens. So I mean, it's a lot of licensees. Like the licensees alone are a lot of money. Like you get to make Batman movies, you get to make DC movies. There's a lot of licenses they have set up that they own, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that Warner Brothers owns. The Batman IP is super hot. They're making another Batman movie right now, right? Like these are the movies that are going to take them higher and it costs them more to be acquired. And like you in the article, it says like they already got an offer and rejected it, so they are not like they're not like, yes, please get rid of us. You know what I mean? Like they're being a little picky.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you're selling a company, you want to get all the shit you can for it, especially when you're invested in and whatnot. But it feels like one of these days we're going to get news about Warner Bros. Getting acquired. At this point, it's just a matter of when, not if. I'm
Yeah.
curious to see if it happens before or after our holiday break, because that'll affect if and how we talk about it on this very show.
I,
Um,
I think it's also
yeah.
interesting that like it's I think it's also worth noting that it's interesting that like these companies are getting very big and they're controlling a lot of IP. Like Disney arguably owns so much intellectual property, film rights, character rights, and all that stuff. And as these companies get bigger, like they get harder to moderate and harder to control and harder to limit. So it is dangerous. But like the merger with Skydance and Paramount gets into like a lot of political drama, like a ton of like shady side stuff that is just you look at that you're like I don't think that should have happened, but they made deals, right? They made the deal. I do think it's dangerous. Like these companies are getting really, really, really large. Um, but if I had to choose like two evils, like I would rather have Netflix do it than Comcast or Skydance or Paramount. Like I just feel like they're just they came into this industry differently than those other two. They haven't been around nearly as long, so they're not as I don't know, like set in their ways, I guess. And like Netflix likes experimenting with a lot of different things because they can do that because they have a lot of subscriptions. We just recorded their earnings this year, their quarterly earnings, right? Like they're up. What was it last year? We've done so many different reports, but they were like up. They beat expectations, I believe, or met expectations. So like they're
Maybe,
doing
yeah.
good, you know, in a system that is arguably struggling. Like a big hit helps, but like you know, a lot of stuff comes and goes out of the theater all the time, and the small indie stuff just does not. The Rock did that movie and it made no money. You know what I mean? Like the boxer movie. I don't even know what it's called, but it like just did abysmal.
Yep. That was an A24 movie though. Those, I mean, it's never gonna do Avengers money, but
Dude,
yeah,
they
I see
they
what
are
you're saying.
producing so much. I can't keep track. But A24 used to be like, we're gonna do these 3 projects a year, and they're gonna be really. Now they're doing like 50 things, and there's some things that come up, Donovan, that I see in like A24. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize it has anything to do with this.
They said it, dude. I don't know if you remember. We covered it on the show like 9 or 10 months ago. They put
Yeah,
out a statement. They were like, "We want to increase our output. We want to be like a bigger studio. They want to, they want to step up to the big leagues. So they're
bigger
putting an
doesn't
effort
mean better, though. We know this. Come on,
into
they're the
the.
ones who proved that. Like being a huge studio with $100 million budgets doesn't mean that that's a good thing,
But that's the
right?
issue, Greg. It wasn't working. They were doing it because what they were doing wasn't working anymore. It wasn't, I don't think it was just they woke up one day and got greedy. I think they were like, hey, we got to evolve or expand, or else we're just going to go out of
Well,
business. I think
we
was
talked about some
was
shit
their
like
reality.
Megan 2 was them, right? That was A24.
No, that was uh, Universal because it was
Okay, I
Blumhouse.
mean, I like some of them do partnerships too, so it's confused. It gets really, but like it doesn't take very many movies for a studio to get in trouble, right? Two big budget bombs can cost them a lot of money, right? Like that's
That's why
really
they
the
want.
problem.
That's why they want bigger movies so they can have because they can never make a Barbie. But they want to. They want to be able to make a movie that can make hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe a billion, so that they can have a cushion. But yeah, when you are making movies and every movie has a $10 million budget and makes $11 million at the box office, you are riding a very fine line. So
I know, but like we talk about
I
all the
get
time,
I get
horror's
the
like
point.
right, like horror's great. Horror is a $2 million budget makes 20 million. You know what I mean? Like it's, and I guess people want to do, they want to do different things, and they want to expand, they want to get bigger budgets and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, I've seen good films and good TV shows without a budget, with no budget, like a shoestring budget. Not everything has to be
Yeah.
on what was it? What was it movie I just watched? It had like a huge freaking budget, like Fallout, right? It doesn't have to have a huge budget like that. Obviously, that's a huge Amazon Prime budget show. Not everything has to do that to be good. So just keep that in mind. If for all you CEOs that are watching this, when you're thinking about our opinion on whether or not you should sell your studio to who and what makes money.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see, dude. It's hard not to be cynical about these corporate acquisitions because it feels like they're all bad. It's what is the last one, that like, what was the last big company that got acquired or merged that we were all like, we're all better off for that one, or they're better off for that
Oh,
one.
better
It's
off?
like,
Yeah, that's the big question. Like,
yeah,
no, no, it's
it
not
is
been. Oh,
always
this is great. No, it's not been. It's not been good. It's not been good at all.
exactly. It just feels like every time these things just get worse. No matter who it is, it feels like you're just prepared for things to get worse. We see it in gaming, we see it in movies, and I just don't have any indication that this won't be the same. Um, but that said, Greg, we're going to move forward in our show. But before we get to our next topic, I want to remind folks follow the stream. If you are on social media, we're freaking live all over the place. We're on X.com, Twitter, we're on Instagram. Are we on TikTok? Is that a thing, Greg, that
It's
we're doing?
like we're still experimenting with the restream thing. I did everything
Yeah,
TikTok told me to do. I did everything Instagram told me to do, and Instagram has a couple more steps. We were doing it before the thing, and like we're not there right now, so I don't know what's going on, but we're
right.
trying. I'm trying.
Yeah. Sometimes you do everything that TikTok tells you to do and they still don't like it. That's okay because we're still live so many places on the internet. Want people to follow. If you're on Twitch, which is where we are streaming exclusively for so long, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to show some extra support. If you got Amazon Prime, everybody does. You're over there, participating in Black Friday sales. You got a free Prime gaming sub. Use it on the Shacknews Twitch channel so that we can keep the lights and microphones buzzing. Greg, you run a little YouTube channel. Wait, two YouTube channel. Wait, three YouTube channels,
3 YouTube channels.
all in the name of Shacknews. Four. What the heck? I missed a patch note. Uh, Tell us how the things been going over on the YouTube space.
Oh,
What have you
good.
got
We
cooking?
we good. We you gave me a bunch of Kirby gameplay that I made live, then had to unmake live, then make live again. So that's all. That's if you want to see some Kirby Air Rider stuff. We have your podcast this week where we talk about the Zelda movie. You talk about Kirby, like your review, like everything. We have all our original content and gameplay videos go there. A ton of Metroid Prime 4 footage. Come and jump in there and join the conversation there. Shacknews interviews is finally getting back some love into the rotation because I'm finally caught up with all the other stuff. Sure, there'll be more stuff eventually, but we some of our Tokyo Game Show interviews with some cool Japanese developers went up there last week, and then this week uh, we have something that I don't think I can say because of NDA. So we have other stuff coming up this week, next week. I have no idea when, but and it's a big interview, two big interviews, so that's pretty cool. And then I have I just put up an Astroneer interview with their community and marketing developer Joe Torado. Lots of stuff there, man. Like you guys can look at our backlog. We do a bunch of stuff. We also have features there on the YouTube site as well, so you can feel free to check it out there. All on our
Awesome.
platforms.
And we're grateful for all you do for those YouTube channels, Greg.
I'm tired.
Now, well, that's great because that means now you get to sit back for the next 2 minutes and react to the first trailer for Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping, Greg. This trailer just dropped today. Always good when big movie news drops on a Thursday. That means we can hit it immediately. I have not watched this trailer. In fact, I've not even read the book that this movie is going to be based on. We're going to react to it live here. I've got it pulled up on my end. You want to give us a little 3, 2, 1 countdown, and I can hit the play button.
Yeah, we'll go.
React.
We'll go 3, 2, 1, and then go at go. Okay. So
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hall of Justice, but not the one you probably know.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice, the girl in the yellow coat is doing some stuff.
I believe that's Glenn Close, by the way.
He looks like
Which
my
is kind of
grandma.
crazy.
District 12.
Oh, you're back in District 12, right? So this is the Haymitch movie, is essentially what this is, Greg.
Twice the number of tributes.
It's like Midsummer.
Okay.
Twice the glory.
Okay.
So they have to run to get the weapons, right? Is that what they're doing?
They don't have to, but they can. That's just where they put all the weapons, so it's up to you. Do you go for weapons and fight people, or do you just run into the woods? Or the hills, in this case?
All the
That was
contestants.
McKenna Grace. Your Ghostbuster girl, McKenna Grace, is in this. She's one of the people.
She's on fire. She's been in so much
Ben
stuff.
Wang, dude, she is popping off. Ben Wang's in this. He was the in the Long Walk. He's good.
Let the 50th Hunger Games begin!
I'm assuming that kid was Haymitch. Yo, Ray Fiennes, okay. The cast for this movie is nuts. Kelsey Plemons, there you go. Elle Fanning, again, there's a lot of people in this damn
Yeah,
movie.
a ton of people.
Production design looks really good. Always does in these movies, but
I'm not. I just
Especially
see a
here.
lot of outdoor shots in like New Zealand, which is probably where they film it.
yeah, we talked about New Zealand earlier. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that tells me. I mean, that's okay. Yeah, new characters, new Hunger Games. Less the one before this had a more interesting aesthetic, like with or at least there was more of it. That
Mhm.
this is this a teaser? Yeah, no, official teaser. Yeah, so it's not supposed to show you much anyway. But you've never read the
Right.
books, Donovan, right? Any of the books, the main three, like there's
So
like
no,
several
I
books,
have.
right?
I read the original Hunger Games books back when they came out. I was very young. I have not read the new books. Suzanne Collins, who wrote the Hunger Games trilogy, came back like 4 or 5 years ago and wrote 2 more books. She wrote The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which was like a prequel about another person who participated in the Hunger Games that they talk about a couple times in the OG. And then she did this book, Sunrise on the Reaping, which just came out like 2 years ago, or maybe less than that. I think they were like already writing the script as like when she finished the book. But apparently this one is like much better, right? Like this book specifically, people liked a lot when it came out. I remember that being a thing, because this one is about Haymitch, who Haymitch is of course played by Woody Harrelson in the Hunger Games movies. He is Katniss's mentor. He's like when you meet him, he's like a drunk. He's like his life's all fucked up. But he talks about winning the Hunger Games, and I won't. In the books, they tell you how he won the Hunger Games because at the time they probably didn't know they were going to make a Haymitch movie. But they tell you how he won the Hunger Games, and what made Haymitch's Hunger Games so unique was that he won the 50th Hunger Games. So what they did for the 50th Hunger Games, Greg, was they doubled the number of contestants. So usually every year it's 24 people. They take two from every district. There are 12 districts. 12 times 2 is 24. But for the 50th, when Haymitch won, there were 48 people because they doubled it. They did 4 from every district. It was this crazy thing, obviously. Your odds of survival even lower, 1 in 48. But he won anyway, and it was this big thing. And then his life went to shit anyway when he got back home because District 12 sucks and is, oppressed. And then eventually Katniss comes along and there's a revolution, and the story goes as you know it. But this is essentially going to be the story of how that happened.
No, Bill, get out of here. No, Bill,
yeah.
you recover. You're not allowed in here. You play Marvel Snap.
I was like,
that's what you do right now. You play Marvel Snap.
I was like, man, he really wants to talk about Hunger Games. But no, yeah, so it's gonna be a Haymitch movie. Cast looks crazy. You might not know because I don't think you're like the biggest Hunger Games guy necessarily, Greg, but a lot of Hunger Games characters in that trailer there, because this only takes place about 24 years before the Hunger Games, so it's close enough that like people will still be alive. So we see Effie Trinket. You remember the Elizabeth Banks character in the original Hunger Games with all the makeup, and she's the one who's like talking on the microphone. She's in it. She's Elle Fanning now, younger actress playing her. We saw Jesse Plemons, who's playing Plutarch, who was like the game maker. He's played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, who passed away after making Hunger Games: Catching Fire. He's in there as a younger version. Obviously, the main dude is Haymitch, is young Haymitch. A lot of characters we've heard of but haven't seen. McKenna Grace's character is one we've talked about. So it should be fun. I think what I'm always fascinated by in Hunger Games movies is the aesthetic, because the Hunger Games always has like a theme to it, which is very morbid because it's a death tournament. But like they get into this like the weeds of like the game makers, Greg, which is like the person who's assigned to like design the games, like the arena, the traps, all of it. And the first one was very standard, like wilderness survival, right? Like you're just in the middle of the woods. There are wild animals. There are fruits and berries. Some of them are poisonous. There are tall trees to hide in. And then in the second one, it was tropical. It was like you're on a beachy island kind of environment with these big rocks, and they're like mountains, and it's almost like Hawaii if it was like a death arena. And then in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the prequel that had Rachel Zegler and it came out a few years ago, the theme was like almost like this industrial train station sort of thing, where it was mostly indoors, but you had like these dark corridors and long alleys, and like it was literally like a Grand Central Station sort of vibe. And now this one, I said during her reaction, it looks like Midsummer, which is the horror movie from the dude who made Hereditary. And it was like this like outdoor, like sort of like flowery, people are wearing white sheets and they're like sleeping in tents and whatnot, and you're out in like the fields. That was kind of the vibe I got from this one, where they show you the cornucopia is like the middle area where all the weapons are. I got like the Midsummer Festival sort of vibe from that. So we'll see if that's actually what's going on. I'm sure they'll dive into it in the movie. Think it looks fun. It's hard to tell. You said it yourself, it's a teaser, so that it's just a tease. It's not really telling you much. But from what I've seen, I'll watch it. I'll see what's going on.
I think I'm just too old for these movies. I'm 40. I'm just too old. It's just the same thing. I feel the same way about like
I'm
Nicole
40.
really likes those other movies, the Detergent, Insurgent, Resurgence, whatever.
Oh,
Divergence.
Divergent.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
like,
YA.
and it's like
I mean, it's YA.
yeah, she likes those movies, but like they're very similar in like tone and theme, right? I think I'm just too old. Like all the
Hunger Games
characters.
much better. I'll just put that out there. Sorry, Nicole. Divergent is like the bottom of the barrel of the YA bin, but Hunger Games is much better. I'm sorry, we can continue.
But she likes the romantic interest.
A lot of romance in the Hunger Games.
That's
I mean,
the thing.
Peeta,
Yeah, she like and like she has
Gale,
to like
come
the
on.
couple. She has to like the couple is the rule. So like
Sure.
if she doesn't like the couple, if they have no chemistry, she's out. But I mean that's a low bar. Yeah, I think I'm just too old. Like I mean like the game, I was probably a little too old for the books when they came out, right? I mean, although I
Yeah,
did go
this was
back
like
and read
late
the Percy Jackson
2000s.
books, I did like those, but it was like really hard to get through this because it was for a much younger generation.
Yeah, but
And I
Percy
think I'm just too
Jackson's
old to relate to any of
nonstop
the
world
characters. They're all
building
like teens, right?
would
They're
be
all
up your alley.
tweens who are competing. So like I can't really, as a 40-year-old man, I can't really relate to any of them because they're too young.
The ages are 12 to 18 for the Hunger
Yeah,
Games. That's
so
when
I mean
you're
that's a big
eligible.
thing too. You want to like most people, and this is universal. They want to interject themselves into a movie, and they want to feel a connection to the characters, and it could be any character really. But if the majority cast is tweens, then or teenagers, then that's the demographic usually.
Right. Yeah, I mean, The Hunger Games was a YA novel.
Yeah.
It was targeted young adults. I read it back when it came out. It makes sense why you like Percy Jackson though, because it's lore, it's just nonstop lore and world building, which you
Yeah, the
you
whole
eat
thing
up,
is
of
just
course.
yeah, you're experiencing the for the first time. Yeah, the first time
Yeah.
you're experiencing it through his eyes. It's just good. You are Percy, so in that case, that's an interesting. That's like you point that out, which is interesting because that's like you. No matter how old you are, you're learning about this world with Percy. So whether you're whether you're 10, 15, or 40, like you're seeing it all for the first time. This one, it's already thing. The world building's already here. You already know how it happens. And I don't know. Is that you haven't read the new books? It's got to take the. Is it a multiple perspective thing? Is it a perspective from one character, like the Harry Potter novels, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually have no idea if they change up the formula. I know the original Hunger Games are written from a third person perspective. I don't know if this one's different though. This could be different. Maybe the book does start off like Percy Jackson, where he's like, "Hi, it's me. You're reading my words." Who knows? But yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, prequels are always an uphill battle because you know how the story ends. Obviously, Haymitch is in the Hunger Games, which means he lives at this movie, and if he's in a tournament where the stakes are you either die or you win, there are assumptions that can be made. You can jump to some conclusions pretty easily there. And if you've read the Hunger Games, I think it's the second one. They literally tell you what happened in Haymitch's heart. Like he says how he won, or somebody says how he won, which I'm curious to see come alive in the big screen. But should be interesting. I mean, this is it's a franchise. When Suzanne Collins stopped making Hunger Games books, she only did 3. You knew it was inevitable they were going to come back. These are. It's Lionsgate that does these movies. Look up the biggest earning Lionsgate movies. Lionsgate doesn't have a Transformers or a Fast and the Furious or a Marvel or a DC. The Hunger Games is Lionsgate's Avengers. It's like their biggest IP. And they went like a smooth 10 years without making Hunger Games movies. And at some point they were like, Suzanne, please help us for the love of God.
We want to get more money.
Yeah. And here you go.
It's also funny because I grew up with movies and books like The Running Man, which is way too old for you, Donovan, to even know what that. Not The Running Man. Oh my God, why can't I?
I mean, that is a movie that
remember
just
this?
got
I'm
remade
totally
again.
brain farted. The Running Man was one of those things which is very similar. That was a book.
Sure.
Then Arnold did a movie. Then they did another movie of it, and I've read some reviews, and it's not that great. What was the one? Logan's
see
Run.
that
Like
soon.
Logan's Run was like one of the first ones that did this. Like was one of the first early adopters to do this. That was a '60s movie. Very 60s, like very 60s sci-fi about like when you turn 30 they kill you. So like it's all this about this young society, and it's an algorithm for when your youth is over, your life's just beginning, like that kind of stuff. But I've seen a lot of these come and go, these like Deathgate Society, rich people bad thing, which has been like a theme in like movies forever. But that's just the thing, like all of it's been done already, so you have to try to tell it differently and lean into the tropes. The last one,
Yeah,
and
I
I
mean-
see the 60s aesthetic in this too, right, Donovan? You mentioned the production design. The last one's very like kind of Bioshocky 60s, and you kind of see in the hair and the outfits when they start running around, and like it looks very 1960s esque. I can't talk today.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in terms of movies, like Battle Royale was
Yeah.
the big one.
Yeah.
A Japanese movie that kind of like set off that trend in film. And yeah, I mean, it's a death battle or death tournament is like a classic movie trope. I think it's something that, I mean, the age of characters is a factor, but I think it's something everyone can relate to in a weird way, because I think the the human instinct to survive, the will to live, is something that naturally exists in most humans. And you put into an impossible situation like this, you watch as like everyone turns into a barbarian essentially and starts like hacking each other to death. And it's what would I do? If I'm a nice person, but if somebody was bearing over me with an axe and I had a sword, I'd probably stab them in the stomach. So yeah, it's a fascinating universe. Panem, of course, is the United States in the Hunger Games. The whole conceit of the Hunger Games is that there is a civil war where the United States rises up against the government. The government wins, and then as a punishment, they put us all into these little like districts. They like put us into a police state. They monitor over us, everything we do, say, whatnot. And then as like an ongoing punishment, as a like to remind everybody of what happened to stop them from ever rising up again, they do the Hunger Games every year, where they're like, hey, just as a reminder, like we let you guys live, but every year we're gonna take like 2 children from your like community, and they're just gonna fight in a death tournament for our entertainment, and it's a reminder to you to like never try to step up to us again. Is the concept essentially, and so obviously you have built-in themes of oppression and society and all that stuff, and government interference and whatnot. And then of course, if you see the Hunger Games, the states eventually rise up again, and this time they win, and things are different. But yeah, so you're always gonna have that commentary in there. But curious to see how it turns out. Again, I think it's got better chances than the last spinoff they did, because I just think the story synopsis for this one's probably more interesting. But we'll see.
Was the
Coming
last one
soon.
successfully sound? I can't look up the price, but like, did it do well financially for Lionsgate? Because it is weird. Because sometimes, like, I feel like they had 3 movies planned, and the first one is like a snowball rolling down a hill, and it just gets worse and worse because like people didn't like you didn't care for the first. You didn't say it was terrible, but you didn't care for it. It was like eh. And I wonder if it made a lot of money for Lionsgate to warrant a sequel, or if this was already planned at the start of the first movie they made, or the trilogy or whatever.
Well, I don't think they were ever going to do a sequel to the last one, because it was just a one-off book. Like the book was a spin-off. It's just a one-story thing. I mean, they would have. I guess they could have come up with something else. But the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was one that came out a couple years ago. Did $350 million worldwide. It's not
Okay,
bad.
well,
I mean,
that's
not
good.
as good as the other Hunger Games movies, but it did well. And that one was the 10th Hunger Games. This one is the 50th Hunger Games. And the actual original book with Katniss was the 74th Hunger Games. So you can see how we're working our way through the timeline here exactly. But yeah, no, these movies do well. I mean, it's a massive IP, very beloved. It's my generation's like YA thing, right? It was big in the 2000s, and then the movies came out throughout the early to mid 2010s, and all did very well. So yeah, this will be significant. Greg, speaking of significant IP that are going to make their way back to theaters, there's another movie that got a trailer. Moana.
Yeah, I can't believe you're gonna.
I'm
make
not
me
talking
watch
about
this.
Moana 3. I'm not talking about Moana 3, Greg. The live action Moana movie. It got a 59-second teaser because it's happening, Greg. It comes out July 2026. Are you ready for the movie of the summer? Moana. You may have heard of it. Get ready to watch the trailer for Moana in 3, 2, 1. Get it. Yes, this is what we've known for what's happening for a while, Greg. I think we actually talked about it when they announced it. On our
Moana's
show.
not even that old. Like that's the. I think that's the most-
2016. The original Moana will be 10 years old when this movie comes out next year. Which is crazy. I think Moana's already 10 years old. I feel like that movie just came out. But yeah, and you know, you can hear the singing "How Far I'll Go." That was like the big song from this one. It was their "Let It Go," really.
Yeah,
You
great
know that-
music. Moana's one of their better modern films. I really enjoyed Moana. The first one was
I
very
love
good.
Moana.
I still arguably miss an antagonist, kind of, but like it's fine because the songs were really good. And the whole concept of a road trip is good. But you people out there, like, they're not gonna stop unless you don't go see them. So like, I don't like. It's people are saying, why do they keep doing this? Because Stitch made $1 billion because no one had self-control not to see the movie. So like, you have to be like, nah, and just not go. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the problem. And I think it's what plays these live action remakes are 2 things: money and nostalgia. The 2 things that they're gonna keep making them as long as they make money and as long as people have nostalgia for the property. And I don't think 10 years is enough for nostalgia. Like, I think you need to be north of 15 or 20, you know, for the nostalgia
You're about to
factor
find
to
out.
be like, remember this? Yeah, that kind of thing.
This is going to be the test. You might be proven wrong. If this movie makes $1 billion, then 10 years is enough for nostalgia. Apparently, I mean, it's going to be that simple.
I read a bunch of reviews on Stitch, and I watched the Nostalgia Critic, and he's really good at like comparing the 2 like ones, and he gives it credit where credit's due. But it feels like they're made to make money. They're not. It's not like they're easy to make, but they're a safe bet. They're just a really safe bet. Like, out of all the live action remakes, like one flopped, like one, and it was Snow White. Like that was, you know what I mean? That was the only one that like really catastrophically failed. And like, if you thought that was gonna be the end
Catastrophically.
of these, you're wrong. Like, you're absolutely wrong.
Luchadobra, the original was animated. Yes, the original Moana movie was animated. Moana 2 was animated. That came out like a year or two ago.
That's gorgeous. Like, if you haven't seen the original, watch the original. It's very, very, very well done. It's beautiful, beautiful.
One of my favorite Disney movies of the 21st century for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, I think the reality is you're saying like people, have restraint, don't go see it. I think the reality is people go see it because they're interested. People want live action remakes. I think is the sad reality, at least from your perspective. People obviously want these movies, is my point, right? I think we do the thing where we're like, all right, guys, don't support this, so they stop doing them. Here's the thing: you yourself just said it. You don't like going to the movies. In fact, a lot of people don't like going to the movies. Movies are doing worse now than ever. So when Lilo and Stitch makes $1 billion, it's not like an accident. It wasn't because like people just felt forced to go see it. It's because people saw the trailers and they're like, oh my God, yes, I love Lilo and Stitch. I want to see more of it. And we're going to see if that's what happens with Moana. Moana was really fucking popular when it came out. The second one kind of disappointed. Kind of still a post-pandemic Disney animated movie. Feels like all of them have been doing poorly. But the reality is people go see the things they want that interest them, and that's what they choose to spend their money on. And if people think Moana looks exciting, or they want to see how far I'll go in live action, they're going to pay money and go buy tickets and see it. And we're going to find out next summer. It'll be a good case study though, because it's a very recent animated movie.
You got to remember too, like when you make arguably, I'm going to call it a children's film because it's children friendly, so it's a children's film, right? When you make that, or an anime film targeted toward younger people, you're not just selling 2 tickets. Nuclear Family, I think, is 5 now. It used to be 4, now it's 5. You're selling 5 tickets. So like you're selling, if your 2-3 kids want to go see Moana, you're paying for them. That's 3, and then your wife and you, or your partner, or whatever. So you're selling more tickets too, arguably with the larger families, because it's a family movie. You're gonna go with the whole family. So that helps it make a lot of money too. I haven't seen any of the live action remakes. I've read reviews. I've seen enough of them to realize that it's not going to be my cup of tea. I'm good. I think that a lot of these live action movies are lifeless in terms of like how you can recreate or respin. Like animation is just, you can get more emotion out of characters because there's no physics. Their eyes can get big, their eyes can get super small. Like they can be more expressive, and a lot of that stuff translates really well in animation, and then terrible with real actors. Stitch is the weird exception because he's not a real thing. He's a CGI creature, so he's still CG. Yeah, you can be. And again, the strongest part of that movie is Stitch, because he can be expressive because he's not real. So like it just opens this whole can of worms. It's just like, oh my God. But it made, like you said, Donovan, it made $1 billion. So they're not stopping until they stop. Until people are tired of it. And if you're tired of it, just don't give it money. Don't watch it on Disney Plus, and don't give it your money. That's the only thing I can say, right? It's the only thing you get if you're tired of it, typing it in the.
But my point is, they're not tired of it though. The people who are going to watch it aren't tired of it.
If you're one of those people that are, like, just don't see it, don't watch it, don't pay money to see it. So,
they won't. The Greg Burks of the world won't see it. You didn't pay to see Lilo and Stitch. It made $1 billion because you're outnumbered vastly. You are vastly outnumbered by people who are interested in these movies. Is the reality of it. Well, so I mean,
Yeah, there's that, and Trump is president, so that also is. There's how many people, how people vote in the world too. So how the majority of the people vote.
Greg, you heard it first. Greg says if you like the Disney live action movies, you are no better than a Trump.
No, that's not the quote. The quote is that we live in a society where there's a lot of people who do things for reasons unknown. And paying to see the Stitch movie and voting for Trump are 2 of the reasons that I don't understand this world anymore.
What's entertainment? People like to be entertained.
It's true.
People like to be entertained, and they like to be reminded of when they were younger and they enjoyed their lives more.
I feel it's so I feel it's so weird being in this industry still, like especially for Disney. Like imagine like you make Snow White, right, completely tanks, and you're like, what do we do? Streaming's killing everything, no one wants to see it. Then you make Stitch and it makes $1 billion. You're like, wait, everything's great. Like imagine like it's like a bipolar entertainment meeting constantly with them when they're making something. Like it's either it's massively successful or like terrible. Like it's really weird. Really weird.
I mean, I think the difference is that the source material, Snow White, the original one, and the original Lilo and Stitch came out like 50 fucking years apart is the difference. Nobody that grew up with Snow White is alive anymore. So yeah, I think that's the difference. Lilo and Stitch is like beloved by like modern adults, like people in their 30s love Lilo and Stitch and saw it as children. The vast majority of people don't give a shit about Snow White anymore. It's an IP that's older than most people on the planet. So yeah, I think that's the big difference there. Slicky Jim, what's up?
Also, I think there should be like a rule. Like, I think there should be like a rule of thumb. If like there is more green screen and CGI in your live action remake, you can't call it a live action remake. You just can call it a reimagining. Because
Well, that was the argument with
That's
Lion King, right? Because Lion King doesn't have people in it.
it has no people. It's all CG. So is it live action? Like, can you call it live action? Like, is that
I don't know.
correct? The style, I guess, is more realistic. But like live action.
Yeah.
Live action, right? Because like everything in here is fake in these trailers, except for Moana. So this scene here, it's all green screen, and then all the creatures are CG, including the chicken.
Right.
So the chicken's not even real. Like they have to.
Yeah.
Like it's very,
Well, they need him to emote. And you got The Rock there jumping off the cliff. He's gonna play his character again.
Like look, like what? Like that's just a one for one of the cartoon. So that's what part of me is like. It's the we talk about this all the time, Donovan. It's a double-edged sword. You don't change anything. People say, "What's the point?" You change too much. People say, "What's the point?" So it's very confusing. But it puts butts in seats. I guess at the end of the day, that's what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, the people love Moana, and you know, Lin-Manuel Miranda will be counting his dollar bills for coming up with that soundtrack for you, Disney. Is the man who penned "How Far I'll Go" and all those other songs in that soundtrack.
It's a great score. One of the better musicals too they've done in a long time.
It's really good.
2 is great. I love 2. It's so rare, Donovan, because I think we talked
you
about 2 a
Moana
little bit.
too.
The second one, it's so rare where a Disney sequel like expands on a character. Because you know, like usually the sequels are straight to DVD, or they're crummy, or they're like going on another adventure, like, and there's not really anything more to like digest with the character. But like, if you haven't seen Moana 2, the ending to that like opens up more, which is really kind of interesting to see in a Disney sequel, because usually you don't get that stuff. You didn't get something like that in a Disney sequel, something that grows a character even more. So it's just, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, well, you know, good for Ali'i Cravalho, which is the woman who voices Moana in the animated movies. The first one was her debut, was her first movie. Then she went on to have a pretty cool career, and she came back for the second one. Obviously, she does not play Moana in this one. My bet is she'll have a cameo, because I know her and Disney are pretty
Isn't The
tight.
Rock an executive producer now at this point on this film too? I think he is, right?
He's in it!
No, I know he plays Maui, but
Yeah.
I think he's also a producer on it.
Yeah, I believe so. And you see his back there where he jumps off the cliff with was it a staff now he has or whatever. But yeah, so July 10th, 2026, baby. Next summer, you'll learn more about Moana. But until then, Greg, we have other things to talk about.
Slinky Jim's talking about the Avatar, how they do it with you. Like, I mean,
the last Avatar movie was phenomenal.
Have you watched the Avatar movies, Donovan?
The second was phenomenal. I said that on the show. I will not accept Avatar 1. I get the slander. Avatar 2 is like a phenomenal movie. Way of the Water was really good.
Oh, Avatar 1 is just because it was all the hype. It was all this hype for like years about like this movie. I think it was just overly hyped for what it was. It's just, I think the movie was fine. Like, I walked out there being like, movie was fine, but I mean, people acted like it was they were acting like it was the next Titanic. You remember that? It's the next Titanic. And you're like, no.
Well, it was in the box office. It made more money than Titanic.
It was.
It made more than the box office. It's also just one of the most stunning movies ever shot. And the second one, the same is true. Those movies are pretty gorgeous. But yes, they do use a lot of CG, but they also have some of the best special effects in movies. Greg, it's time to review some stuff. I have a movie that I went and watched at a historic independent cinema in Baltimore last week. You have a television show that you watched the newest season of. Would you like to lead off, or should I?
You can lead off because you see more movies than I do, so I want to get your. I'm surprised you didn't see the dog movie yet.
Oh, Good Boy. It's not even in theaters anymore. It's on streaming. I got to pick it up on like.
Oh, that's not great. When it's that fast, it's usually a bad sign.
It was indie, dude. They made that movie like a $10,000 budget. It came out like 2 months ago. Indie movies are in theaters for like 3 weekends.
But you're like the horror guy. I thought for sure you'd be like first in line to see it at your local Alamo Draft House.
Way too much going on. I saw a different movie though that was also indie and is probably not going to be in theaters for much longer, called It Was Just an Accident is the name of this movie. It's a translation from I believe the movie is original. It takes place in Iran, I should say. It won the Palme d'Or at Cannes Film Festival, Greg, which is the big, fancy French film festival. The Palme d'Or is like the top of the class award they give out one a year. It was previously given to movies like Parasite, which I love, iconic movie, you know. Anora won the Palme d'Or. And this movie essentially follows a family in Iran, Greg, that um, a man. God, how do you even set up the premise for this movie? So a guy goes to a car shop, right, to get some work done on his car, and a man there recognizes him and believes that he is a former like war general that tortured him years ago. And upon realizing this, he kidnaps the man and prepares to torture him and is about to kill him. And the man is like, "I'm not the person you're talking about. Like, I'm not that guy that you think tortured you." And the other character's like, "Yes, you are. And I have an ensemble of characters who you also tortured, and we're ready to exact our revenge against you." And the entire movie is this back and forth across, not across all of Iran, but this town as they go to various places, trying to figure out this guy's identity because these are not like naturally bad people. They do not want to hurt an innocent man, but they're like, if you are this war captive that like tied us up, blindfolded us, beat the hell out of us, tortured us, like we're gonna kill you. And he is like, I'm not that man. And he's got like a young daughter and his wife is pregnant and he's pleading for his life and they're like recounting the horrible things that happened to them during this war in Iran. And it's just this like stressful, tense, like you call it a thriller because it's just so anxiety inducing because you just have all of these hot heads and these personalities like clashing in a very violent manner. And there's that like threat of violence in every interaction. I thought it was really compelling. I thought it was very interesting, just the way that this movie goes about like the way it talks about like I guess guilt and revenge, because they spend a lot of the movie, making you wonder as the audience member, is this the guy, right? Like, do they have the right to like get their revenge on him? But also just like, who has the right to revenge? Is that like a just and moral thing to do? Doesn't matter. Like, if this person has gone on and, tried to forge a new life and they've apologized and tried to like, make up for their sins or their misgivings, like, do they still deserve like punishment or consequences materially from you, right? And obviously, several characters are religious, so they're like, there's some people who are like, hey, if he's guilty, he'll be judged like by God, like we'll know like when he dies, he will suffer like whatever consequence befalls him. And then the other people who are like, no, I kind of want to like choke the shit out of this dude until he stops breathing. And it's fascinating. It's also funny. There's like some innate humor in the story that's being told here. They're like lugging this guy around in their trunk. They have to hide the fact that they're like harboring this dude who may or may not even be guilty from people. But I thought it was such a fascinating movie. I thought it was really good. The ending of the movie, the last like 20 minutes, and then the very end, like the final thing that happens before the credit rolls, I was like, oh man, this is gripping. Very, very gripping.
Was it a twist? Was it a twist ending?
I don't know if I'd say a twist, but just like an interesting like
Reveal,
yeah. Or just like that's what certain people do is like at the end of this movie, I'm like, wow, interesting. Okay. And it just leaves you with so much to chew on. I think if you are somebody who doesn't like arguments scenes in movies, like random comparison, but like the show The Bear, right? I've had people who watch it and fell off because the characters just scream at each other a lot in all the episodes. If that kind of stuff like annoys you, you might like get tired of this movie because at a certain point it is like 5 people in a van like yelling at each other and being like, "No, you shut the fuck up! I'm gonna blah 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 blah." And it's like, "No, you get the hell out of here!" Like they do a good amount of that, but it's good. I thought it was a really fascinating movie.
It's neon too. Some people say neon's the new A24, and by some people I mean me. They've been doing a lot. Like they've kind of picked up that baton for like lower independent weird movies, right? Donovan, Neon. They've kind of picked up from A24 because A24 is doing bigger stuff now. Like they're the new like you've watched a bunch. You watch most of their films that they release. You review them here on the show.
Neon is pretty aggressive when it comes to snapping up like up and coming movies. Like this was one they bought after it was made, and then they distributed it because they saw it and were like, "Holy shit, this is great." Put our name on it, and we'll be the ones that put it in theaters, obviously, because indies can't really do that for themselves in most cases. But there's a neon joint. Their logo rolls before the movie starts.
I think it's also interesting too because it's in a part of the world we don't normally see in films. with characters
Yeah.
from
Definitely
countries
not in
we
America,
don't really
no.
see in films. Really, like I think that's super interesting.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And entirely takes place in Iran. The movie's in Arabic. It's subtitled. I watched it. I'm not familiar with any of the actors here. I don't know if these are like big names over in the Middle East or not, but I thought they were phenomenal. The performances are so good in this movie. The emotion in these characters. Some parts of it, honestly, are uncomfortable because you feel like you're just watching like real people just are like a lot of it just feels very real and visceral, which is a bit off-putting. Obviously war crimes is a touchy subject, especially when you get into tensions in the Middle East and whatnot, so there is like a realness to a lot of it. And even though it's like morally bad to want to like kill somebody or get revenge on somebody or kidnap a person, you think about what they talk about going through and you're like, fuck, that's terrible. Like I probably would have killed somebody too if I was like bound and gagged and put into like a fucking like waterboard station or whatnot. Like it's just, it asks so many moral questions, and it is so hard to come up with proper answers to any of them. But I thought it was a really fascinating movie.
Would you recommend the movie to other people who want like dramas and thrillers?
100%. 100%. As for you, I think you would be interested in it. This was not a movie I'd be like, oh yeah, you and Nicole should put this on. But I mean, if you yourself just wanted to like sit down at your computer and watch something interesting, I think you would be fascinated by the story. And anyone who like watches my review and is like, oh, that sounds interesting, check it out. I would say check it out. It's quite good.
Are
But that was my movie review for the week.
Neon's in that weird place, right, where they don't have a streaming service and they're not contracted with anyone, right? So they hit theaters, they get distribution. Then usually you have to rent it on Amazon Prime or find a station that carries it, right? Find a
They usually distribute theirs through like rental services, yeah. So Prime or Apple TV, they usually always end up putting them on there. And the stuff usually gets releases as well, like physically and stuff. But yeah, that's my review. It was just an accident, which I thought was a fun title for this movie, especially after watching it.
Terrible SEO
And
for the trailer. Terrible terrible SEO.
it is, but I just love a good I love a good movie title. I love a movie title that like begs a question, right? Like when you hear that it was just an accident, I'm immediately like, what? I want to know more. And as I'm watching, I'm like, oh, okay. And somebody does say the title of the movie in the movie, which boom. Lucy Dobra says movie for second screen while you're doing something else. Some people do watch movies while they multitask. Some look at that as a sin, but it is a thing that people do.
I only do that
Greg,
if I've
you
seen
watch
the movie
something?
before, so I'm not in that
There you go.
category. I'm not that much of an edgelord. I don't do that.
All right. Well, here you watched the new season, right? Because this show's been around. It has been Hotel.
Oh yeah, we watched that. We finished it last night. Where's the official trailer? Like, here it is.
Okay. Is this season 2?
This is season 2, and they're signed on for 2 more.
Damn. All right.
I'm a big advocate of animation. First of all, I love the first season. My friend showed me what it was. I didn't know what it was. One of my friends turned me onto it, and he took me down the road to Vivian, who's the creator of the show and who has like this huge long list of credits in animation. She went to animator school. She's done all this stuff for years. This was like her big break. Amazon Prime bought a season. They're like, sure, why not? Here you go. You can do the season, and it found its audience. Like it found a huge audience. I gotta say, if you've never seen the first season, it's about hell and heaven, characters that have died in the afterlife, and since then she's done spin-offs with other characters in the same universe, and that's been equally good too. I could say like Vivian's vision is like nothing I've ever seen. Like her character designs, all her character designs are so unique, and I've never seen something like this before. And the animation is some of the best animation I've seen in decades. Like, move over Disney. Like, this is like insane for a TV show to have this quality of animation at this level of detail. Donovan, when you're in animation and you turn perspectives, it's like one of the hardest things to do, right? If you're doing like a 360 shot, or trying to rotate a scene as the character's talking, or follow something, like if you're changing perspectives, it's one of the hardest things to do. Most of the time, you're just going like left to right or up and down, right? Or even like maybe even pushing in back and forth. Like when we have to change the angle of a character turning and draw that, it's really difficult. And they do it like multiple times in this show. And I called it out several times. I'm like, I can't believe they actually animated that, because what studios will do is they'll make a 3D model. Even if it's hand drawn, they'll do like a 3D model. They do it with cars a lot in modern animated stuff. You'll see a car, because cars move and their perspective changes. It's easier to make a 3D model and just put it on a 2D plane and then turn it in real time without having to redraw it. They redraw so much stuff here, and it's an incredibly beautiful show, and they got so much more budget, and it shows in the quality of the animation. They just dumped it all into animation. And some of these songs, because it's a musical, some of these songs should, I mean, I don't even know, like, can they get Emmys? Is it called something else? Are they eligible for Emmys if you're on a streaming platform as a service for
Oh
television?
yeah, I mean, dude, all the Emmys the last like 5 years are all streaming movies. It's all like HBO Max, it's all Netflix, Prime. Yeah, those shows clean up.
I mean
Stranger Things as
there are
well,
some
Emmys,
songs
so.
that should get Emmys in here. Like I think it's funny because Wicked just came out, and like a big song from that was Gravity. There's another song called Gravity in this one that's equally good. It's just a good songs. Great
Yeah.
characters, fantastical world. I mean, I can't get enough of it. Like it's all you care about what's happening. You care about these characters. Everything is super expressive. All the characters, like you can look at the screen, like there's like a cat person and like a bug and like a clown and like a one-eyed cyclops. Like they're so interesting, and just so many songs on them that are just great. Fantastic,
Yeah.
great songs. Vox is the main villain of the other one. You find out you start finding out their history, like how they died, and how they die is indicative of how they look in the afterlife, which is kind of interesting.
Huh.
So you can kind of guess, like, oh, that person looks like a fish. Maybe he drowned. You know what I mean? Like, it's very interesting. But I've never seen something so creative in a long time. That's an original IP that's animated. A lot of it is
Yeah.
based off like comics, graphic novels, or like, you know, spin-offs of Batman, Superman, Justice League, that kind of stuff. I mean, even arguably Invincible's great too, but like it's based off a graphic novel. This was just based out of her head. This was just a pilot she did on YouTube that Amazon saw and said, yeah, here's a couple $1 million, sure. And then like they signed her on for 3 more seasons. And it took forever. And if you're an advocate of animation and musicals, and just really high, it's the most creative thing I've ever seen. Like, it's just everything about this just oozes creativity and originality, and that's really rare, I think, in 2025 to create something that hasn't already existed for decades. And it's a musical. Like, it just keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder. But like in a good way. I highly recommend it. If you like any of this stuff, if you're a furry, definitely watch it. I think furries will love it. I think that's one of the core audiences. Definitely watch it if you're a furry. But even if you're not a furry, like, the characters are great, the songs are great, the animation is stellar. The performances are fantastic. Like, a lot of the actors in this, it's like their first thing that they've ever done. And like, there's a song in the first season called Poison. I forget the actor's name escapes me, but like that's his first thing he's ever done. You know what I mean? Like, and it blows you out of the water. It's a very, very super amazing show. A ton of diversity too. Like, there's people of all colors and races voicing everybody. It's super diverse, which is even better. So like everything, everyone gets representation. It's great. It's absolutely great. And she's done other stuff too. She's done a spin-off show called Hell of a Boss too. Like, that's great. Like, all these take place in the same universe. Like, she's building a universe, Donna. Like this, it's happening in real time. And it's been so long since I've seen something like that happen, you know, that hasn't already existed, you know, like in some other form.
Right.
It's just kind of cool to be in the middle of it. Cause like they just started licensing like apparel and like toys like last year. Like, it's brand new. Like, there's like not much, wasn't much you could buy when the show came out. And Amazon's giving her money, and she is working very hard. She writes some of the episodes as well. So she is the animator and she writes it, and she has a team, obviously. She's not a solo endeavor at all, but holy shit, like, is the animation gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard, a show is doing something right when like one season comes out and it just feels like it instantly has a fandom. It felt like this show came out and overnight people were like cosplaying the characters, using them as their profile pictures on Twitter. Like, it was like beloved in a way that usually shows have to run and be around for a long time to amass that big of an audience. And the fact that it immediately kind of became a phenomenon, I think, speaks to obviously the quality and the uniqueness of it here. And it's cool. Look, we're gonna give these companies all the shit when they do all the stupid stuff. I'll give them kudos to Prime Video that they just kind of gave this creator space to make the show that she wants, with this very bizarre but unique vision. And obviously, you being a big fan of proper animation techniques, I figured you'd be all over this. So no surprise that you liked it. And you said they were already greenlit for more seasons.
2 other seasons, 3 and 4 have been greenlit already.
Damn.
So they have 2 other seasons.
And that is rare. You usually do not get greenlit for multiple seasons in the future. So I'm sure this is probably a hit for Amazon.
But even their spin-off is great too. Hell of a Boss, that's a great show too. And you can watch that for free on YouTube. So like it's on Prime too. But like you can watch, all these It's just so weird because a lot of the adult anime, because it's an adult show. Don't make me mistake. It's not a kid show. It's not a kid show at all. Do not have your 6-year-old watch this. There's a lot of foul language.
I
A lot of
just sent
sexual
it to
innuendos.
my 12-year-old nephew.
Yeah, I mean, like kids are gonna watch what they're gonna watch, right? But it's aimed for adults. It's targeted for adults. But like all the animation that I've been seeing, like on like Adult Swim and stuff, like it's funny and it's well written. But like it's Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Super Friend Hour, Super Friend Time, whatever. Like it's super abstract and like not high quality. It's just really weird looking. Like it's just weird looking, kind of like oh god, Adventure Time. Like it's just very weird, right? It's very stylistic. It's very weird. It's very simplistic. This is some of the most complex animation I've seen in decades. Like, it just shows you the power of 2D animation, and like it still can be relevant and still can be amazing. I feel like 3D overshadows this all the time, and I don't know if that's a marketing thing or if just that's the logical next step if people want to experiment with is 3D because you can do more with it. I'm not sure, but I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime. You can watch the pilot episode on YouTube. Hell of a Boss on YouTube, but the first 2 seasons are on Amazon Prime officially. So go watch it, go support it. It's great. Just watching something and supporting it nowadays. So
It is. It's huge. I'm glad you enjoyed the show, Greg. I, for one, kind of want to check this out. I'm, not gonna commit yet, but this has been on my radar. And now that a second season's come out and it's also beloved, I feel like I might have to step up to the plate and give it a little watchy-loo. Okay. I can do, I'll do a little improvised review here of a show that's not over, but I think is at its halfway point at this point. Welcome to Dairy. I've been keeping up with.
Yes, that's right.
4 episodes in. 4 episodes into Welcome to Dairy. I'm enjoying it so far. It's got some highs and lows. I think that the most interesting stuff about the show is the lore, because it is obviously a prequel to the It movies. It takes place back in like I want to say the 60s.
60s. It's 60. They don't give you an exact time, right? It's like something between the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I mean it's like in the 60s, but you could do the math because it comes back every 27 years. This was the time it was there before the events of the movie It. So if you went back 27 years from whenever that takes place. But yeah, like 50s, 60s vibe. And I think, again, some of the highlights, performances are great. I love Taylor Page. She's like the mom in the movie. Her husband's like the pilot in the, what is it, the Air Force? Yeah, they're the ones who do stuff with planes. They're great. The young group of kid actors are doing good with what they're given. I think that trying to tie together the universe is the interesting part, because if you know Stephen King stuff, he connects a lot of his stories through characters or locations. There's a character who gets arrested for a crime after the first episode, and the threat is that they're going to send him to Shawshank. And his whole thing is he's innocent. He wasn't there when, this thing happened. And there's a scene where like his daughter's like talking to another kid and she's like, like what they do to people at Shawshank, like you don't come back from there. So if you like Stephen King stories, like there's some connective, there's the connective tissue there that'll make you like point at the screen and wink and stuff. And then of course the like actual It of it all, just the angle of this being like, when It and Pennywise shows up in It, the book and the movie, nobody knows what's going on. Like these kids have to go to the library, they're like reading stories, but like there's no person that's just like, oh yeah, I remember when it came back last time. This is what it does. This is everything. But all these people 27 years ago are learning about it. So I'm curious to find out what happens to them. Where do they go? Are they all just going to get killed? Do they move and leave Derry? And that's why we never hear from them again. I'm just curious to see where all these character stories are going, because as a prequel, you're watching a prequel and you're like, well, none of these people are in the original thing, so I wonder what happens to them all. Of course, the main dude, and this isn't a spoiler because you see it on his army uniform, his last name is Hanlon. He's Mike's grandfather from It, which is the black dude. So there's connections still there. On the downside, I'll say there's strains of this being a TV show, where it's a show that's going to have 6 or 8 episodes, I think.
Usually it's 8. 8's been the magical number for a lot of shows we've been watching. The sweet spot.
You can see where like a lot of the emphasis as far as storytelling and production is going, right? Like the first episode is almost like a freaking movie, man. There's so many set pieces in the first episode. It's gory. They have shocking moments. It feels like a 1 hour movie, the first episode. And then like the next couple just feel more like episodes in the middle of a season of TV where there's like maybe a single set piece, and then even that set piece feels kind of like weird or rushed or like ham-fisted. There is a scene in the episode before last, episode 3, I think, where people are being chased through a graveyard by like ghosts or what look like ghosts. And when I tell you that it looks like Disney's The Haunted Mansion starring Eddie Murphy, I was like, boy, I was like, this looks weird, man. With like the ghost effects and stuff, the CG looked really rough on it. I was like,
spooky ghosts
this
scare
is not
me.
great. Yeah,
Maybe
and
maybe they didn't like spooky ghosts from the Haunted Mansion of Eddie Murphy, and that's why he manifested.
yeah, I don't know. Look, here's the thing. I know like the effects or like a thing in a movie is bad when my brother, who he likes movies and shows, but he's not like a film buff, right? He's not like picking apart cinema. When he comes to me and he's like, "Oof, those effects look weird," or "That looks bad," I know that it's like egregious. And he watched the episode. As soon as I saw it, he was like, "Bro, why did it look like that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. That was rough." So those are the strains when you adapt a film IP for TV, because suddenly you got way more productions to pull off, and you got to make that budget stretch. Denny says he's not directing each episode, right? Talking about Andy Muschietti, who directed the It movies. I don't think so. I know he directed the first episode. He'll probably direct the finale. Don't think he's directed the middle episodes. But I could be wrong. Also, if you're coming to this show thinking you're gonna get Pennywise in every episode, hell no, you're not.
No.
In fact, I'll go as far as to say, light spoilers, we haven't seen Pennywise yet. And we're 4 episodes into the show. So, I mean, that could be fine. It feels like we're going to see him soon. Obviously, again, it takes the shape of many different things. You see it all the time. It just looks like people and monsters and animals. But they are really saving that Pennywise card. And it's getting to the point now that I'm like, when we do get Pennywise in the show, it better be like the best scene in the show. Like if they do Pennywise and you give me Bill Skarsgård back and it feels like boring or deflating, that is going to drastically change my opinion of this TV show because it has been hyped up. It has been heavily marketed. It feels like they're pointing towards like a reveal. They're doing things where like you see a balloon or somebody thought they saw a clown or whatnot. Like they're teasing like it's going to be this grand thing. All I'm saying is it better be good when we get there. So I have some good and bad, but I think it's still fun. As somebody who likes it a lot, I really enjoyed the book, love the movies. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
I actually enjoyed the book. That book was really hard to read for me, especially the
No,
end.
it's great. I mean, everybody just focuses on the end, but it's like a 600-page book, man. There's like
It's so
500 other pages of the book.
It is weird though. Like you're just like, what's happening? Like, oh, he's on cocaine again. I see. Okay. He's writing the book on drugs.
We wouldn't have these great stories if he wasn't.
No, that's you know, it's funny because what you're almost describing to me is kind of like the Walking Dead problem. Like that show had a lot of filler, like a ton of filler, and like there were some episodes that just wouldn't move the story forward at all, and you're just like, what was the point? And I think that's the downside to some television, which I would hope they would have gotten over. That you don't need 8 episodes if you just need 4. Tell it in 4, and have it be a miniseries, right? But I think there's like what you're describing to me is kind of like a contractual. We want 8 episodes. They're like, well, we only have 6. Well, you write 2 more, so you're like, ugh, okay, and then you get filler because they need it longer. Because that kind of filmmaking to me, I thought would be dead because you want it. It has like when you're making a serialized show in 20 years ago when it cable, like it had to last a season, right? You had to have 1 episode a week for until I think it's summer, right? Like maybe I think you got a couple weeks off, so you had to have a lot of episodes. Like look at The Walking Dead, there's a lot of episodes. It's a lot more than 8 per season, right? It's like 20 or something, or 15. Because you had to meet that deadline of like it had to be every week and it has to last from March until like December. So you have to, but like when you're making a show on HBO Max, you're not adhered to that deadline. So why bloat it with 3 more extra episodes if you don't need to? That's a little disappointing. I guess they just really wanted 8.
Well, in an interesting way, you do still kind of have to fill out a calendar, don't you? If you're HBO Max, because they release episodes on a weekly basis. So the first episode came out like a month ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever. And then they've just been doing 1 a week ever since then. They come out on Sunday nights. And I mean, obviously they have schedules, so I mean, it will run. If there's 8 episodes, that means it runs 8 weeks, 2 months. I'm sure the people at HBO Max are smart enough that when this show ends, I bet you there's another show that premieres the next weekend on the same day. So in a way, you kind of do need to fill out a schedule, right? You want to keep people subscribed on a month-to-month basis. You don't want people to be like, all right, that's over. I'm canceling my subscription until next year when season 2 is out. So I'm not going to speculate and be like they made them make the show 8 episodes so that they could have room for the thing. But look, I've said it on the show. I don't hide it. I love movies over TV. I've said that I get why people like it when their favorite movies get made in TV shows. You get more content. More is not always better. Just because you spend a longer amount of time in a place doesn't mean that you're getting better story out of it. And you see some of those growing pains here. I'm like some of the issues I have with the show, the It movies didn't have because they're movies. So yeah, it's not as easy as it looks. And the answer is not always to just make every movie IP a TV show. That said, I still think they're doing a good job. Don't get me wrong; it's not a bad show. It's good, and I think the concept is pristine. The idea that every season you would jump backwards 27 years and you would just progressively dive further into like the lore throughout history of it and Pennywise and how it's terrorized this town, which. This show is set in like this season set in the 60s. They do give you a little bit of teases. They're still diving into the lore of like how long has this actually been a thing, right? Has it been 100 years? Has it been 1,000 years? Like there is some of that in there, which is fascinating.
Yeah, it's like they don't have to worry about seasonal TV shows, right? I think the magic, like you said,
Yeah.
if there is a magic number, and we're all speculating because none of this is transparent ever on any platform. I think the magic number is 2 months. If they can keep a subscriber for 2 months based on
Right.
one particular show, I think that's the goal. But you can still do that if the show's 6 episodes. You do one, you do one every week. That's a month and a half. They pay for the month in front, so you still have a 2 week gap, right? So I guess
Yeah.
that's the thing too. Like with Has Been Hotel, Prime did 2 episodes a week for 3 weeks, 2, 4, 6, 4 weeks. So 1 month. They did 2 episodes a drop a week every week. So, and this is
Yeah.
a drop every week, every Friday,
Sunday night.
So
Yeah. No
I
episodes
mean,
come out on a
they're,
weekly
arguably
basis.
they're still learning, and it is
Sure.
David Zaslav. So I mean, like maybe they might learn slower
Yeah.
over at Warner. But yeah,
Yeah.
just don't have filler because I mean, I've had nightmares of The Walking Dead. I loved that show. I've read the comic. I liked the show, but there were like
Yeah.
some shows where
That's
they would
awesome.
have a cliffhanger, and the next show would go nowhere, and then they would assume the cliffhanger. Like it was total bloat. Like tune in on Sunday, and
Right.
like they didn't resolve anything. Nothing moved forward. So just like obnoxious. You're like, well, I can skip this episode. Like somebody made a list, I think, on a Reddit post with all the things you can skip in The Walking Dead and still have a cohesive story because there is so much filler.
They're treating Walking Dead like One Piece.
Yeah, yeah, One
that's
Piece or
fine.
even in any anime, Dragon Ball. Like there's so much filler that just doesn't move the story forward.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because of like again contractual obligations or filling out a season or whatnot. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm glad you
Well,
like it.
anime
I
cases, a
can't-
lot of
Nicole will
time
not
they're-
watch it. She will not watch horror. She refuses.
No.
I showed her a trailer. There was a zombie. She doesn't do zombies. So the only reason I was able to watch The Walking Dead was because when I would travel, I'd watch it on my phone at night in the hotel room.
Right.
So that's how I was
Right.
able to watch
Okay.
the whole series of Walking Dead.
I know that you are not going to be able to watch this with Nicole because you guys usually watch stuff together. If you are like have a chance to watch it in your office or on a phone, like if you have a chance to watch it by yourself, Greg, I think you would like the show. I think you would like it as much, if not more than I do, because I don't think you'd have as much of an issue with filler stuff as I did because a lot of it is still lore. They do so much world building and like I said, diving into like what actually is this thing? What do people know about it? Is this like just the thing in Derry, or do people know about this outside of Maine? Is this like a conspiracy? Is the government involved? Is this a military thing? There's
Right.
people who are like, is this like a bioweapon? Is this like Russia or like, North Korea doing this to us? Like, I think you would really dig all of that they dig into. And then also the period piece, the sets, all the people dressed up. There's a great running gag. It's, I guess, not a gag, but like a running thing in the It movies that I love. And they keep it in the show where there's that town square. You always see them go to the Dairy Town Square. There's a movie theater. And every time you see the movie theater, they always have the thing that tells you what it's showing outside on the marquee. And in the original it's like A Nightmare on Elm Street because it's the 80s. And then in It Chapter 2, because it's in like the 2010s, I forget what movie it is, but it's like a modern movie on the thing. And then on this one, they have a movie from like the 60s is listed on there. I forget what it is. It's like, I don't know. one of those old Hollywood movies. But I love that they do that, and they always like immerse you in that time period, right? The clothes. There's a the core family of this, like the pilot dude, there's a black dude. There's like a racism subplot here because him and his wife moved to this town with their son, Derry, for his military job because it's a nearby military base. They're the only black people in their street. And there's a thing where like they move there and like the wife's outside and like, the couple walks by and looks at him and she's like, well, I guess we can like get used to like shit like that. And he's like, hey, like it'll be all right. Like I'm in the army. Like we're good. Don't worry about us. But it's a thing, right? It's part of the story here.
60s,
I think it's
not a
very,
good place. Yeah,
very
not a
interesting.
good place for civil rights in the 60s. Definitely not
Not a
that
good-
far in the. It is arguably
Not a good
it's
time
the
to be
East
black.
Coast, like higher up on the East Coast. So I guess at that time it would be.
It's
a
up
little bit
north,
more, not as bad,
Up-
but still bad.
Yeah, which I do respect them diving into that in here. I was like, all right, that was not a facet of the IP previously, so I think that's interesting.
Well, how could you?
I was
should
like,
bring it up, right? It's part of that history, right? It was very
It is. I mean,
adamant
if
in
you're-
that time period. Yeah, it should be part of
Yeah.
the story. Yeah.
It is fitting, but I think it's good. I like it a good bit, and again, I think if you can sneak away and watch just the first 1 or 2 episodes, I think you'll know really quickly if you are into it, if it's your style, which I think it is. Welcome to Derry. I'll probably do one more review when the season ends. I'm not going to keep doing every episode, but I figured we had some extra time. I'd talk about my thoughts on it.
Well, they are doing the right. They're doing it the right way. They're doing it every week, like you said. Like, don't you
Damn
solve
right.
it up front, and it just goes away so quickly in the chat, and the talking and the word of mouth stuff just leaves. Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah. If they released every episode at once, I would have reviewed this whole show 3 weeks ago, and we would have already stopped talking about it, and it would be a month old at this point, and we would not be seeing another season for another like 18 months. So yeah, definitely the right call to go weekly. And HBO's got a good handle on that. That's how they handle all their releases. They've got their finger on the pulse there with that. But yeah, I think that's everything, man. I don't have another review. I just saw that.
The Frankenstein movie on
show.
Netflix by Guillermo del Toro is on my list.
Oh, tell me when you watch it because I want to watch it too.
Okay, it's on my list. I've been wanting to watch it, but
Uh-huh.
we've had no time this week. So
Same. Okay. That's gonna be scary too, though. Is Nicole gonna like that?
Guillermo del Toro, like, he's more. He is scary, he is horror, but Nicole can handle that. Like, there's a romantic interest in that. There's great sets and effects. I think she'll like that stuff. Like, he's known for. I want to be a fly on the wall when he's like pitching these things. I want to build the ship. We're not doing that, Guillermo. Yes, you are. We're building the ship. Like, you're not gonna do CG. I want to build the whole mech. We're gonna give you 2 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
His stuff.
Well, that's the thing about working with Netflix. If you're a prestigious director and you're just, have a big name, I feel like they just give you a blank check. They're like, Guillermo del Toro, please write. They sign up, give them a check with a signature on it. They're like, please write the desired dollar amount there on that dotted line.
Yeah.
And it's like, yep, this is what I need.
I also think it's a better metric for directors now to like point to, because if your movie goes in the theater and makes no money, that doesn't necessarily mean people didn't see it, right? Like, because you point to watch time. Like, none of these, by the way, as disclaimer, none of these platforms tell you what their metric is, but we're assuming it's watch time because that's what they promote when something does well. So like, if they're like, oh, your movie didn't do well, you can just point to watch time. Yes, it did. 200 million hours of watching it. Yeah, people watched the thing. You know what I mean? So I think that helps artists like point, instead of just pointing to an arbitrary decimal point of like a numerical value of like $1, it's time. Instead of dollar, it's time. And I think that's an easier pitch, right? Since going to the movies can be a hassle. You got to get time off. You have kids. You got to get the city. You got to drive there. You got to pay for the movie theater, like that kind of stuff. You just look at that stuff. I mean, I don't think Ghostbusters is a good example. I don't think Ghostbusters Afterlife gets a sequel without its success on Netflix. Because they posted on Sony put it on Netflix and it got like 200 million like views in like a month. So like it did very well there, and they looked at metrics, and then now they're doing an animated show because of that. So I think it's interesting for artists that pointing to a different. You're still looking at numerical values, but instead of a dollar amount, you're looking at time, and I think that's a better bar point to show if something's been watched or not, whether it's arguably good, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there are a million different formulas these companies run when they decide whether they should or shouldn't do a thing. But yeah, and a lot of that remains a mystery.
Stranger Things comes out soon too. I got to start rewatching.
Yeah, dude, you've already missed the point where you should have started doing that. You're right. The new season starts in like 8 days.
Like, there's no time. We have to watch Stranger Things. There's no time. Let's go.
I think you got to just jump into the new season, man. I don't know when you're watching 4 seasons of Stranger Things between now and a week from tomorrow. Um, but you might figure it out. Who knows? Uh, yeah, I think that'll do it for us. We will not have a show next week because next Thursday is Thanksgiving in the United States of America.
Oh, that's true.
Which means Shacknews will be off. We will not be streaming the show. It also means that, as Greg just mentioned, Stranger Things final season part 1, because they're splitting it up, comes out on Thanksgiving. You can expect us to do some reviewing of it the following week, 2 weeks from today. We'll be back, which means our next episode is going to be in December, Greg. This is our final November episode of Pop Goes the Culture, which actually, I just thought of something. Is this our last show of the year?
No,
I just
because
realized
the week
that.
after Thanksgiving we come back and do stuff.
Yeah, but won't we be doing deliberations for Game of the Year? Don't we do this every year?
I
We're
almost
like
pulled
in
up on
late
our I almost pulled up on our Sana calendar I was like, wait, nope,
God,
wrong
no.
window. Yeah, I'd have to check our calendar and see when that starts.
I feel like we do this every year where we get to late November and we're like, we'll be back in a couple weeks. And then we go on break and then we come back and we realize, wait, we're doing deliberations from Monday to Friday all day long. And then we just don't do the show until we come back in January. I feel like that is what's about to happen because we're going to be doing deliberations next week. And then we can do it when we come back from Thanksgiving. We do them all throughout December. I don't know when we have room for another Pop Goes the Culture stream, unless we carve some time out. Maybe, okay, how about this? How about we try to carve out time, Greg, to do like a 1 hour show or something before like we leave for break so we can review Stranger Things and say goodbye to 2025 because this does not feel like a fitting way to
I think
end it.
most of like the big breaking news is done for the year, like at least until January. I think we're not going to get any break. And I mean, I say that. Maybe
That's what you think.
Who knows?
What you think.
We do cover pop culture, but not like the trash culture. Like Millie Bobby Brown won't name her kid until she's old enough for whatever bullshit, stupid celebrity crap that is. We actually cover like news, like in the entertainment industry, not. I don't know. I would guess you would classify that as entertainment gossip. So like, yeah, there might be something that drops there, but highly unlikely. I think it's too late in the quarter to do any marketing and reveal. It's Christmas, people are distracted. The Mariah Carey countdown has started. So
sure did. Started a long time ago if you're me.
Nicole's like, Sunday we're putting this Saturday I have to put up Christmas decorations. I was like, wait your turn, Christmas.
Yes.
It's Thanksgiving first.
No. I'm on Team Nicole. I'm putting up our Christmas decorations. I bet you have Thanksgiving decorations up over there. You got some turkeys hanging from the ceiling. I'm gonna join her in that chorus. But all right, Greg said it. And unless Millie Bobby Brown announces the name of her child, we'll probably do one more show before the end of the year. We'll try to squeeze in an hour. Stay posted to the Shacknews social media accounts and our personal social media accounts because I'll let you know when that's going to happen. It won't be next Thursday though. So take care of yourselves. Enjoy the holiday if you celebrate it here in the United States of America. We'll see you next time. I'm Donovan Erskine. That has been Greg Burke. Happy Thursday. Bye.